Hello, I am Mastery Academy. It's Patrick Kenny. Good to have you with me today to learn exactly how to use the Delorean. Now, the Delorean software is a software that is excruciatingly simple. On the right side of the screen, you're going to have buy or sell signals and a time that has been passed in minutes or in hours. And also, you're just going to have a simple buy or sell arrow on the chart representing exactly where the Delorean believes you should be looking to buy or sell any sort of currency. Keep in mind that the Delorean will scan 5 different time frames on 30 different pairs at any given time. At this time of the recording, this is only scanning currency pairs. It is not scanning any others in the market. We look forward to expanding into the future. Now, as we get started today, the first thing I want to show you is our 4-step check. The Delorean 4-step check is what you need to do to find a good signal. Keep in mind, on the Delorean, you will not be taking all of the buy signals and all of the sell signals. You're going to take them, you're going to look at them with this 4-step check and decide if they are a valid signal or not. So, question number 1 you need to ask yourself is, do we have an engulfing candle? For those of you guys that do not know what an engulfing candle is, I'm going to show you in a minute what an engulfing candle is. Question number 2 should be, is the red EMA cutting through both candles? We'll take a look in a second. Question number 3, are there any extra EMAs for confluence? And number 4, are we in no man's land? Now, before we move on, I just want you to write these down or take a picture so that when we're on the charts, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because these are the 4 questions that I ask myself, and if I get the correct answers for all 4 of these, then I execute the position. So with that said, let's go back over to DeLorean. And the first question you want to ask yourself is there an engulfing candle? Is there an engulfing candle? So we will ask ourselves that. The first thing you want to do is find the arrow. And when you find the arrow, you're going to look at the 2 candlesticks before the arrow. Okay, those 2 right there. Those are the 2 candlesticks that you're going to look at in that box for the position. Those are what make the position happen. So your first question is there an engulfing candle? For those of you guys that do not know, an engulfing candle is when you have one red candle, or it'll always be vice versa. One red candle, aka this size, it's the same on the bottom, but the next blue candle is higher than the red candle. You can see right here, this blue candle is higher than this red candle. This is considered a very, very, very slim engulfing candle. Okay, this is an engulfing candle. So your first question, is there an engulfing candle? Yes or no? In this case, the answer is yes. You want to get yeses. Your goal is 4 yeses. So the first question is yes. Now the second one is the red EMA cutting through both candles? Here's the red, find it. Is it cutting through both candles? Yes, it's cutting through both candles. Do we have any extra EMAs for confluence? So now we have 2 yeses, now we're on our third question. Do we have any extra EMAs for confluence? Okay. What we want to do for this is we want to look at either our gray, our light blue, or our dark blue. Keep in mind that those 3 lines will always be on your chart. And if you're buying, you want to have one of those directly below your 2 candles. Very close to it, if not touching it. You can see it's very close to it. It's right below. Yes, we have an extra EMA for confluence. So that answers our third question. Then our fourth question is, are we in no man's land? Essentially, in layman's terms, this means that none of these 3 colors, aka the light blue, the white, or the dark blue, are directly above price. Okay? Notice none of them are directly above price. So we are not, in this case, we are in no man's land. So we get, yes, we have an engulfing candle. Yes, the red EMA is cutting through both. Yes, we have an extra EMA for confluence. And yes, we are in no man's land. 4 yeses equal a trade. So you would have executed this trade at this position. Now, your stop loss level is to be put 10 pips below these 2 candles plus whatever your spread is on your broker. So, for instance, let's say you had a 2 pip spread. You would go to the bottom of these candles. You can see on the right side there, this is at 1.83509. You would go down from 1.83509 all the way to 1.83409. Okay, and then you'd add 2 more. So 389. This is where you'd put your stop loss level. And your targets, we're looking left and we're finding our previous level of structure up at the top. That is our first level. Our second target is called the 13 collapse. And the 13 collapse is fairly similar to when we're talking about the red EMA cutting through both. But what it means is that when this chart moves its way up, the moment that we cross back below the 13 on a buy signal or above on a sell signal, that's when you exit the trade. So in this case, once this market crosses back below the 13 EMA, closes below it, not wicks to it, but closes below it, and this could happen at any time. It could happen when you're in drawdown, when you're break even, or in profit. So right there in real time, this is perfect. In real time, you see this? We just crossed back below the 13 EMA. At this point in time, we would actually exit the position. And in this case, we would cut. If we entered, it might be break even, or it might be a little bit negative. We would cut our loss or break even in this case, okay? We can go to dollar CAD, for instance. Okay, this is another example of a trade setup. Now, dollar CAD said to sell it right here. Okay, this is right now in one candle in 15 minutes over an 11 pip trade so far. All right, so let's go through our 4 steps again, just to pound this point home. Number 1, is there an engulfing candle? Okay, bearish engulfing candle is right here. Remember, we're looking at our arrow, and the 2 candles before the arrow are where our setup happens. So these 2 candles are what we're looking at. Those 2 right there. Do we have an engulfing candle? Yes. Is the red cutting through both candles? Yes. Are there any extra EMAs for confluence? In this case, the wick literally touches it. Yes. And are we in no man's land? Right now, yes, we are. We don't have any, when we're selling it, we don't have any other of these EMAs hitting the price on the bottom side. There's one way down here, but that's a great target point. Okay? So yes, 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 and yes, and you would have executed this trade here. That's another great signal. You're up over 11 pips within 15 minutes. Painless. Okay? Again, you can look to target previous levels of structure. In this case, you'd have probably had to zoom out just a little bit more than you're used to. And there's plenty of levels of structure over here, okay? Or remember always, always, always what we just talked about. The moment that these candles cross back above that 13, you should look to exit, okay? Because you're probably changing direction. Now, what I want to do is just find a signal that doesn't follow all of our rules, okay? Let's find one that's, here we go, perfect. All right, so this is New Zealand CAD. All right, your first question on New Zealand CAD is there an engulfing candle? Okay. Now this one, it seems like the tops aren't even, so this would actually be considered equity. But to pound this point home, let's say yes, this is an engulfing candle. Now the second question is number 2, the red EMA cutting through both candles. Is the red EMA cutting through both candles? Again, we're looking at the 2 EMAs behind the arrow. Is the red EMA cutting through both candles? No. It needs to cut through the bodies of both of these candles. It literally only touches the wick of the red one. And that's it. So there is no trade. We got to know. There is no trade. And the reason that I show you this is, yes, it said sell it right here. And that's fine, and that's cool, and it was immediately in profit. And that happens a lot of the times. But what you need to remember is that this software will give you profitable signals just in here. But our goal is to increase our accuracy and our win ratio by just following these 4 simple steps. Okay, so I gave you an example of a couple great setups. One that would have been closed out early, one that was in profit really quick, and then this one that doesn't match all of our rules. So you can kind of get an idea of all of them. So again, let's recap. Is there an engulfing candle? Yes or no? Does the red or the 13 EMA cut through both candles? Yes or no? Is there any extra EMAs for confluence of those 3 other colors? Remember that gray one, that light blue one, or that dark blue one? And are we in no man's land? Meaning, are we buying into any of those? If you get yes, 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 and yes, you are able to take that position. So that is exactly how to use Delorean in under 10 minutes.